Before we break for our first networking and our drinks and coffees, I'd like to welcome to the stage Dr. Amjad Waheed, who is the CEO of NBP Funds, who would like to give a vote of thanks. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Well, one good thing that that came out of this is that what I saw that the corporate leaders and the policymakers, the ministers are on the same page. I think the understanding in terms of we have not spent on human development, education, healthcare, science, and then infrastructure development, science and technology, population planning, all that has come back to haunt us. I was looking at some statistics. In the last 30 years, our per capita income has grown by just 60%. And it's lower than not only the neighboring regions. For example, India's per capita income has gone by 270% versus 60% in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Indonesia. But even when I compared it with Uganda, Ethiopia, Tanzania, their per capita income has grown more than us over the last 30 years. So certainly, there are very serious issues. We have not spent on the factors, on especially human development. There are economic studies that show that 1% investment in human development, education, healthcare, population planning, clean drinking water adds 1% to GDP. That's so strong a relationship. And our basic, I think, biggest failure is investment in human capital. And also, obviously, in terms of dams and, farm to market roads, agriculture. In 1947 in Punjab, there was this boundary wall that was built, dividing the Indian Punjab from the Pakistani Punjab. You see productivity on the Indian Punjab in terms of agriculture 2 to 3 times that of the Pakistani Punjab. Same land. Why? Because India has spent on agriculture. Their governments have spent on developing the agriculture infrastructure, whether it's seed, technology, whether it's canals, pumps, whatever. We have not spent. We need to look at our budget priorities. Unless we change our budget priorities and human and infrastructure development becomes the priority, I don't think things will change. We can all talk about the same things. I'm very glad to hear, and I think Dr. Hafiz Sheikh particularly was very candid. He brought up all these issues, lack of human development, and then regulations, the bureaucratic stronghold on micromanaging businesses, fixing prices, over-regulation, same thing that Gyas talked about. So we know the issues. Even judiciary getting into pricing. Fixing prices of sugar, fixing, for example, the school fee. When there is sufficient competition within schools, within 3 miles, you can find a school charging 500 rupees versus 5,000 rupees versus 50,000 rupees. So there's a complete failure of understanding how markets work. So now basically, they have reduced the fee by 20%. So a school which was charging 10,000 rupees, now it's charging 8,000 rupees. So what has the schools done? They've laid off some of the very good teachers and they've hired some lousy teachers. They're not going to let their profit margins go because they're in the business of profit. So what they have done is they have actually brought the standard of education down. So would it not have been better that if I cannot afford 10,000 rupees to send my child to a school, I move him to another school where the cost is 8,000 rupees. Now the standard of that school that was charging 10,000 has come down to that 8,000 rupees. So complete failure of the regulators, the government, the judiciary to understand how free markets operate, to understand how regulations have stranglehold the entire economy of Pakistan. There is a clear understanding. But I think we need to move fast. Our debt to GDP ratio is now over 100%, which is very, very dangerous. Look at debt servicing. This year, we'll probably collect about 4,500 billion in taxes. 3,000 goes into debt servicing, 1,500 goes to defense, and that's it. You cannot sustain, you cannot run a country like this. So I think there's a need of quick surgery. We need to move fast, especially privatization. I mean, last 2 years, government should have moved fast, and knowing how much Dr. Hafiz Sheikh believes in privatization. He was privatization minister, and now obviously despite his strong belief in privatization, nothing has happened. And this is what the issue is. We all now agree on what the issues are, but still we are moving very slowly. We need to move very fast on some of these things, to put things in order before things get worse. But I think great to hear the policymakers and hope that this further contributes to moving us further in the right direction. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Amjad Waheed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again to all the speakers, all the participants,